It's rare to see like shmups come over here, but if this is going to be the initiation of a comeback, just like there was for Fighters last year, I think this is a very good start. Alright, let's get started. What I got today is Deathsmiles. This is public by Access and developed by Cave, exclusively for Xbox 360. Now, if you imported this from Japan, you know this came out 3 years ago. It took a little while for it to come here, but I could say the wait was totally worth it. For those that don't know, Cave is apparently one of the masters at the shoot 'em ups, with stuff like Doranpachi, even Espgalat, the Esp series, and Mushihime-sama. But the thing is, all those games were vertical shooters, so stuff, if you have ever played anything like Ikaruga or Raiden, then you know what I'm talking about. The difference with Deathsmiles is that it's done on a horizontal plane, so if you played like R-Type or Gradius, then you know what to expect here. But since it's got like that Cave flavor, that Cave kind of style to it, that it's kind of wacky. And you can just tell like immediately by looking at the box itself. It's like 4 girls on there. There's one missing because she's included in Mega Black Label, which I'll get to in a minute or so. But yeah, if you played any other shoot 'em ups, then you pretty much know what to expect here. How it works is you control your character, dodging enemy bullets, destroying everything in sight. But the thing is, there's a little hitbox which is represented by a gold heart. That's the only thing that has to hit your character in order for it to register as a hit. But if you hit an enemy, it only takes off, say, a half piece of health. Now, included with Deathsmiles are 6 game modes, which is a plus because we're getting stuff that the Japanese version they have to pay for. So we get Mega Black Label included on the disc, including version 1.1. So there's 3 iterations. You have the arcade mode, you have a 360 mode, and version 1.1 for both the standard edition of Deathsmiles and the Mega Black Label content. There isn't that much differences between them. The arcade mode is basically exactly what you saw in the arcades, so pixelated graphics in all of its glory. 360 mode cleans up the graphics, so the game looks sharper, and the version 1.1 basically builds off of 360 mode. The only difference is that your familiar, which is basically each of your character's little animal partner, you can control with the right analog stick. And version 1.1 is probably one of the harder modes I've played, but it's probably the most fun. In terms of characters, you only have 4 characters at your disposal if you saw at the beginning. If you just go with like the standard versions of Deathsmiles, you have Rosa, you have Casper, you have Fale, and you have Windia. But if you play Mega Black Label, you get access to Sakura, which is a boss in stage B2. So she becomes a playable character, and she has 2 familiars with her instead of 1. The interesting thing is that each character they all control the same, but the way their familiar and shot type work are different between them. So it does prove to provide some interesting play styles. There's another thing that's included is a customizable difficulties. You have level 1, level 2, level 3, and if you play Mega Black Label, you have level 999, which I'm going to leave that as a surprise. It's best experience. If not, look for a YouTube video for this stuff. But one of the interesting things is that if you select level 3 like 5 times, the enemies start shooting out suicide bullets or counter bullets. But the best way to stop these bullets is to have your familiar gather them. Not only that, when they do that, it gathers more points. You still have the other stuff, like your character does level up, like gain extra lives. You can also gain extra bombs and stuff as you play through it, but again, it depends on which order you go through the levels, which is another interesting thing. There isn't a specific order, so you must go from like level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could do, the way it's set up is there's 3 stages, ABC 1, ABC 1, and ABC 2. So 2, 4, 6. You can go through any order. Say go from A1 to C2, then B1 to B2, or C1 to A2. But the only difference is that there's a fixed level. There's a fixed final level. Other stuff is they've included extra stuff. So There's an EX level, which is in all iterations, and then if you play the Black Label content, you get access to something called the Ice Palace, which is pretty hard, but it's gotta be one of the more fun levels I've also played in the thing. I know one issue some players have with this type is that you just play it once and that's it. You can just use as many continues as you want, but then if you play it that way, you're not playing it right. The thing is, you want to try and memorize the bullet patterns, and if possible, one, credit the whole thing. I am probably nowhere close to doing that, but like, I mean, I've already finished this thing, like the game, and every mode in total, like 15 or 20 times, and I'm still having fun with it. It has got a lot of replayability to it, and the fact is that they have co-op that can be done locally and over Xbox Live is another plus. But the Xbox Live content is a little poor because all you have is access to arcade mode, is the standard arcade, and 360 mode. You don't have access to Mega Black Label stuff. You can't do version 1.1 online because both those modes are single player only. So much for that. I'm hoping that maybe they'll release a patch that you can play the Black Label stuff online with your friends. That would be fun. But did a few tests. The online is functional. There's a bit of a problem with some of the rewards not updating, but last time I checked, they seem to have fixed this. If it's still an issue, hopefully, again, if they do decide to include Mega Black Label stuff in a patch, I hope they do fix the leaderboards with a patch too. Other stuff, basically the only other ways to justify this stuff is basically how it looks and how it sounds. Since it's horizontal, it's still got like that good cave art style, but I've seen like at Scalata 2, like when they cleaned that up, because they just released the 360 part of that back in February, and that looks pretty. This does look good. It's not the best thing out there on the market. I mean, even with the cleaned up stuff, it still looks a little bit. It still looks a little pixelated at points. There's slowdown, but then again, that's how the game is supposed to be, and it does help at points. And I think it looks fine. It's good as it is. The soundtrack is actually pretty good. Good mixture of electronics and electronica and some horror goth things that really fit well with the setting. I do like it. The one thing I found odd is that the soundtrack that's included if you get Deathsmiles, which I'll show you right here, is that it's not included as bonus stuff. Like, you can't switch to that. All you have is the default stuff. I thought they would have included extra tracks, but then again, I guess I'm asking too much. But overall, as it stands, I do like Deathsmiles. It's a lot of fun, and if this is like the initiation of bringing shmups back, this is a great way to kick things off. Is it worth $50? I think so. You may disagree with me, but again, it's your own personal taste. Here's hoping that we get to see more shoot-em-ups come over to North America. If you want, leave more information, post your comments in the fields below. I should have more information on this in the future. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have fun out there.